Thank you for staying with us and welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, in what seems to be an attempt to boost the confidence of entrepreneurs and startup founders, the federal government approved a plan to incentivize and further harness Nigeria's digital innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Now, today on the program, we will look at what the plan is, who was involved in formulating the plan, and how the plan will be implemented to ensure that startups in the country have a level playing ground to operate. Plus, this edition of the program will look at the warning by NITDA that cybersecurity breaches are likely to rise as a result of the ongoing invasion of Ukraine by Russia. But let's first take a look at the trending topics in the past week.
Manchester City waited till the last 15 minutes of the game to score 3 goals that ensured they won their 4th English Premier League with a point ahead of second-place Liverpool. Tottenham Hotspur pipped North London rivals Arsenal to 4th place, where Burnley, Watford and Norwich City were relegated. Following the killing of a sound engineer, David Imo, in the Lekki area of Lagos, the state government has banned the operations of commercial motorcyclists in the metropolis. This decision has also received the backing of the Hausa Community General Assembly.
Well, there you go. Those were some of the trends in the past week, but you can also be a part of the conversation from wherever you are watching around the world. Just tweet at us at Channels TV, at Channels Beam, at Victor_MBIDI, and you can also use the hashtag Channels Beam. Now, joining us to kickstart today's conversation is Victor Famubode. He is a project manager with the Nigerian Startup Bill. He joins us via Zoom from Lagos. Victor, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Well, it seems of course, it's a pleasure to have you again. So, kickstart this conversation for us. Of course, we've heard that, the federal government is trying to, give us this level playing ground, put all the encumbrances, that are out there for businesses and startups especially to operate. But, what is this plan all about? We know the startup bill is pretty much like the fulcrum for all of this to happen. Where are we right now with this bill, and what are the contents of the bill?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much again, Victor. So basically, the plan around the incentives and tax reliefs to ensure that startups can actually grow with respect to the Nigeria Startup Bill is basically one that is a very important aspect within the Nigeria Startup Bill. So basically, this just shows that the executive, and when I mean the executive here, I'm talking about the president, the vice president, and the honorable minister for communications and digital economy, showing eagerness and willingness, and even to a large extent commitment towards ensuring that we have, a startup act that can, encompass things around, incentives, reliefs, and even benefits for, startups. And this shows that there is already that nod from the executive. And I'll call this more or less like the second node. The first node, you agree with me, in December, the Federal Executive Council approved, the bill itself and, the contents within the bill. So it just shows that the executive is very committed to ensuring that this bill is passed. And it's important that this plan that shows the incentives being a major aspect within the bill is already, serving as a cover for implementation. So as it stands today, the bill is currently with the National Assembly. It's passed second reading in both houses, that's the House of Senate and the House of Representatives. And we're currently at a point where we also need to, take it further. This will involve things like the public hearing, which is supposed to come, after the primaries because of the political, season that we're in. So yes, it's the incentive for us is one aspect that is very integral in everything that we're doing, because this actually also sets the motion and serves as a central, thing towards ensuring that startups can grow and, the value creation in which startups are actually designed for can be achieved.
All right. So I mean, one of the things that people might even be, thinking about at the moment is, those who, were part of forming the contents of the bill. How did we come about the contents, and how many stakeholders? Because it's not a one-sided affair, so to speak. Now, who and who were involved in formulating or in putting the bill together?
Okay, so in formulating the bill, this bill is for every Nigerian. So it's not specific to a select few. As long as you're a Nigerian, you'll benefit from this bill. So the idea behind this is we took a big tent approach, and this involved more or less like a cross-section of high-level volunteers that have come together to say it is now important for us to set up a startup act in Nigeria so that we can actually, create an enabling environment for them to operate, and also, ensure that they can grow within, the startup economy. So for this part, the big tent approach is one that is collaborative. And when I mean collaborative, it means it brings together various actors and stakeholders within the startup ecosystem. And in doing so, that means it involves a co-creation between these particular volunteers and also the government. So, for instance, there were things around, consultations that were done, and even getting technical inputs from ministries, departments, and agencies of government, and even the legislature in terms of the creation of the structure and the content of the bill. We also, ensure that we did things like focus group sessions with, key stakeholders such as early stage startups, late stage startups, venture capital, angel investors, private equity firms, and a host of various stakeholders. And this big tent approach has been like our foundation towards ensuring that we can leverage it and grow on this particular approach.
Well, we have to wait and see how all of that would pan out. Like you said, because of the political season, a lot is going on. So the bill might perhaps be on a standstill at the moment in the legislature. So hopefully, when all of this is done, we'll see a forward movement and also see the benefits and reap the fruits, from all of this collaborations and all of that. But I have to say thank you for joining us and sharing how far we have gone with the Nigerian Startup Bill.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor.
Sure. You're welcome. Now, as companies face greater pressure to grow both quickly and responsibly, they must increasingly depend on technology and an enabling environment, which, of course, we hope the startup bill will provide to maintain an efficient line of sight around corporate goals. But let's now talk to someone who has been there and is still doing that to find out how these can be achieved. Kendall Anayi he joins us now via Zoom as well from Lagos, and he is the founder and chief executive officer of Tizeti Networks. He has over 20 years experience in the telecommunications and information technology industries in Nigeria, Canada, and the United States. Kendall, it's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Hi.
Yeah, how's it going? All right, so, with all of this, the startup bill trying to, put all of, the enabling environment, in place and all of that. So when that happens, I mean, you already are leading a startup. Well, it's more than a startup now, but, what challenges do you think, companies will face, especially the venture-backed companies when growing?
Good. Just like you said, so first stage is you're trying to achieve product market fit. You now have a market. Now it's time to grow with all the venture financing you've now gotten. It's very easy. Well, one of the things you would typically turn to is customer acquisition, marketing, and you try to get as many customers in as quickly as possible. But what usually would happen as you get to growth stage, which is around past your Series A, get into Series B, is you find that you started experiencing churn, and churn will start to grow which are customers that just came in, maybe just explored the service. They're fully convinced that they should spend money on it and all of that, or take advantage of whatever freebie you've provided to get them, to attract them to your service, or you download your app. And then you start seeing your churn numbers go up. And we all know that the cost of acquiring customers is way more than the cost of actually working on your churn and trying to reduce your churn percentage. And this number is important because your next round of financing, when you're now getting into growth stage, they ask for such things. They ask for things like a cohort analysis, which shows how long, breaking up the buckets of your customers and how long they're staying, and lifetime value of your customers. And so at that time, you look to more modern processes instead of the manual things that you would typically do when you have a small set of customers. So where you can send an email blast to a few customers or get on the phone and call them, when you have thousands and millions of customers, that's not something you can do. And so to overcome this challenge, you need to look to a more automated processes, a more modern processes. And one of them is one of the things we in TZE, we have a voice service called Wi-Fi Call, which we also use within TZE too. It's a quick story. At the beginning of the pandemic, when folks started moving from working in the office to working at the home, we started seeing our churn numbers go up, and we couldn't quite explain it because we expected people to just move to their homes. But the thing is, there were people that were customers in their office, but not customers in the home, and we wanted to reach them really quickly. And our voice service has APIs which our developers basically connected to, and we're able to segment those customers, reach out to them with our retention team. And we saw our retention grow 36% quarter over quarter. And we said, oh, that's something that other startups would love to use because, again, people know us as an unlimited provider, and we also have a voice service. And voice service is very modern. It allows you get a PABX in the cloud, so you don't even have to set up any of the legacy bulky equipment. Very quickly, you can get.
Yeah. So I was, looking at, the fact that, for startups who are coming into existence, some perhaps might even have, more established competitors. So what should they be doing, or how can they leverage technology to, maybe stay lean, that's lean in terms of their finances, and then adopt modern processes and, using all of that to set themselves apart from their competitors who have already established themselves?
So reaching out to customers. So, for example, let me use the lending space, right? You want to follow up with your customers that so that they can make payments. Everybody's competing for the same for a bucket of customers. One thing you can quickly do is connect your customer relationship management system to a modern system like Wi-Fi Call, and you're able to then download all of your customers and reach them and send a broadcast message to them. Your competition may be using manual processes where they have to call each person. With our services, you can actually just use technology to reach them more frequently using a call broadcast system. There are also things you can do with our system, which is set up a customer care center very quickly, right? At early stage, text messaging, Twitter messaging, DM is very easy to. But when you have a ton of customers and your competition on your heels, what you can also do is set up a customer service with agents very quickly, and we'll provide a dashboard for you, and we'll provide a supervisor's access, we'll provide a format for you to even get feedback from your customers really quickly, and those are some of the things you can do. And that CRM integration is key because most systems, to get caller ID today, we don't have caller ID like established in the developing world, in the developed world. So with connecting to your CRM with the APIs and developers, you're able to get information of each customer's pop up to you as they call into your customer care center. These are some of the things you can do.
Okay, so lastly, before I let you go in 30 seconds, what should African tech startups or Nigerian tech startups be focusing on? Fast growth or efficient growth? Quickly.
Efficient growth, profitability, EBITDA is the number now. So before you used to see a number about GMV, transaction volume, no, it's EBITDA now. Everyone should be focused on EBITDA because that's the number that they're going to base your next valuation on the multiple of that versus revenue or GMV today. And then reduce your cost. I can't stress that more. Reduce your cost, go through your P&L and go through every line item and see what the ROI and what you spent last month is and why you should still be spending that money today, and then work remotely. There's a lot of cost savings from that.
All right, let's hope those who are coming up, are listening to this, and of course, will take that into consideration when they're starting their own businesses. But I have to say thank you for joining us. Kendall Anayi, you are the CEO of TZE Networks. You joined us via Zoom from Lagos. Of course.
Thank you.
We'll take a break on the program, but when we return, we'll take a look at the warning by the National Information Technology Development Agency that there is a likely possibility for cyber attacks to rise as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.